get for your money.
And it is time for today's money. And with Christmas just about a week away, you've got just a few days left to spread a little holiday cheer to all the folks who make your life a little easier every day.
From teachers to caregivers and your letter carrier, you want to be generous, but you don't want to overdo it, and you'd like some left when you get around to the new year. So what's the right amount and which tips should you skip? Today, financial editor Jean Chatzky is here to add to her 2 cents. Always a word of wisdom from you.
Hi, Jean.
Nice to see you.
A lot of this is regional. I mean, in New York, there are obviously higher salaries and that kind of thing.
And more hands out if you live in an apartment building.
Yeah.
Right?
If you look at standards for tipping, a lot of tips are based on either the week's salary or the cost of one visit. So if you live someplace where the salaries are higher or the cost of a visit is higher, you're going to be tipping more.
Now,
gee, that sounds very, very intimidating for people that are having trouble making ends meet to begin with.
Yeah.
Look, a thank you note, heartfelt, goes a very, very long way. You should always tip within your budget, and you should always feel, too, that if you can't give as much as you want now, maybe you'll make it up later. Maybe you'll give a birthday gift. It's not anything that you must do. These are just guidelines.
Here's the thing, too, though. People have a pattern of giving a certain amount each way. Then all of a sudden, this past year's been rough for people. People are expecting a certain amount from you.
Yeah, and a lot of people, a lot of professions really do count on it. The Zagat folks actually did a survey, and 90% of people say they are going to tip what they tipped last year.
Oh, wow. Okay, so let's talk about some of the people and how much we should tip. What about babysitters, nannies, nurses, things like daily, people who you're with every day?
So then it's 1 week's salary, 1 week's pay in general, plus if it's somebody who's interfacing with your child, a nice little personal gift or a note from the child is a really, really nice thing to add. Sometimes if your nurse or home health aide works for an agency, the agency has a policy against it, but you can usually get around it with a gift card that you know they'll be able to actually use.
Or you can bake cookies for them, or you can do something like that.
What about a hairstylist, a manicurist, a dog walker, someone who you may see on a less frequent basis? Do you give them money, or is a gift better?
Generally here it's, again, cash. People really appreciate cash, and in many cases they need it. The cost of one visit, unless you see them very infrequently, and then you just double your tip.
Double your tip?
Double your regular tip.
All right. What about, like, the newspaper delivery guy? Now, that guy, I have empathy for.
Me too.
Me too.
Yeah, when you've done it. We've done newspaper.
These days, they double bag your paper. I mean, it's really, really nice. $20 to $30 is a very nice tip for that person, for the sanitation worker. And ask yourself, have they gone an extra mile for you? If you've got one of those garbage workers who actually drives up your driveway so that you don't have to pull the cans back down, I think you tip them more.
And a FedEx guy, what about somebody like that?
All right, you got to be careful.
If you know these guys well and they come to your house?
There are company policies. The post office, FedEx says, don't give our workers cash. They are allowed to accept gifts of under $25 in value. So be careful. I know people have been saying to me all day, well, I give my postman cash and he takes it, and you know, that is probably true, but that's the policy.
For people who live in cities, doormen and handymen and all that stuff.
That's tough, because there can be 50 people that work at a building.
Absolutely, and you can give one gift and they will spread it around, but general guidelines, a doorman, a super, $50 to $100. If you've got a handyman in the building, a little bit less, $20. Ask your neighbors. Here and with nannies, you know they talk. You know they talk. And so you want to make sure that you are in range of what people are doing if you can afford to do that, just because you're expecting the same level of service in the coming year.
Okay.
All right, sweetie.
Thank you, Jean.
My pleasure.
Have a great holiday, sweetie. Your holiday dinner with the Portuguese.